Welcome everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thanks for coming by. We're going to have a great time painting this beautiful tropical boat scene in watercolor. I have a beautiful picture that I found online. So we're going to use this for our subject matter to paint from. So the whole entire video, you're going to see this video on camera so you can work from this photograph as you're working along with us here on this video, on this tutorial. And so we're just going to zoom in a little more and we'll kind of see how we got our beautiful boat in here. So we're just going to, we got our beautiful rowboat here. See how dark and beautiful and rich those colors are? We show you exactly how to get those colors and those tonal values in your painting by mixing a certain specific way in the palette. I'll explain all of that to you in just a few minutes. Same thing with the palm trees. See how dark and rich in color those palm trees are? We have that same look over here. I'll explain exactly how you're going to get those rich, beautiful colors over there on the left with those palm trees. And then look at the beautiful washes that we did for the ocean and the beach and the sky wash. We show you how to do a simple sky wash that takes no more than 5 minutes. No muss, no fuss. And then, of course, everything else will fall into place for you. But again, I'm covering everything here, all the details of watercolor, everything you need. Thanks so much for coming by. And if you're brand new here, again, I always say welcome. If you've never been here before on my channel, you're going to learn a lot about watercolor. We do everything watercolor, so even if it's something where you don't like beach scenes or palm trees and boats, next week we're going to be doing something you love. We're going to be doing flowers, or maybe we're going to do a seascape, or I should say a landscape, or a cityscape, or a city scene, or some figure painting. So we do everything watercolor, and we always change our subject matter, so you never get tired of just doing one type of subject matter here. We do all subject matter, all watercolor. We cover all the details, the whole enchilada. So buckle up, have a great time. We're going to just get started in a second. We'll do the drawing first, and then we'll work right into the painting and the washes and explain every detail that you need to know on how to get this painting done. And by the time you're done with this video, you will have completed this beautiful painting. As long as you have your brushes and some paint and your watercolor paper, you're all set. Okay, so we'll be right back. All right, we're back, and we just saw the finished painting, everybody. It's Chris Petri again, and essentially I just did a light sketch of this scene, and you can see over here on the right hand side I have my cell phone, and essentially we're going to have a real fun time here. There's nothing too difficult about this painting. All of you are going to be able to complete this painting in a rapid fashion. You're going to be able to get this done quickly, efficiently, and you're going to render a beautiful, gorgeous tropical boat scene in watercolor, and you're going to be amazed, and you're going to say, wow, I can't believe I did such a beautiful painting so efficiently and so quickly and without a lot of effort. And that we're just going to show you how to do it here on this YouTube video here. So let's take a look here. You can see this boat is nothing really difficult. It's basically, it's like a rowboat, very simple. It does have a couple little additional features on it. There's some these pontoons on the side are like small stabilizers that they hook up to the boat to keep it from rocking too much and tipping over. But other than that, it's basically a rowboat. You could keep this a rowboat and you could leave this out. So always remember, you're the artist. You're the artist. You can change things around. You can say, you know what? I like this rowboat idea, but I don't like this idea over here, or the pontoons and these things over here, these stabilizers. Let's not worry about those, and that's fine. Leave them out of your painting if you want. You don't necessarily have to do them. I'm doing them because it is in the picture, but when you're an artist and you're saying to yourself, how can I make it easier for myself to paint this painting, or how can I make this painting more pleasing to myself because I want it to look better for me, then you could say, I'm going to leave this out, and I could have left that out. This section over here, this pontoon on the right hand side of this left hand side of this rowboat. So trust me, do things like that. Take some things out of your painting that you don't like, that you don't want to really necessarily see in your painting, or sometimes add some things in that you might want to add into your painting. That's a part of being an artist. You make the decisions, you call the shots on your paintings, and that's what we're doing here. I decided to put these in, just like the photograph. You can leave them out if you don't want to put them in. If they look a little odd, you don't think they look so great, no problem, leave them out. That's no big deal. And then other than that, we have the distant shoreline here, or the distant horizon line of the ocean in the distance across here. And then we have the palm trees over here on the left-hand side that I've sketched in very, very lightly. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it. You just get a basic shape of the palm trees over here, a little smaller one up top here, and then a larger one here, like so. And you have it. And then a couple little lines for the clouds, just to kind of let yourself know, okay, I got some clouds I want to put in here for my sky wash. And that's basically it. So that's your drawing. I did my boat first, so you draw in your boat first here. Very simple too. Again, with hash marks, you're going to do thirds. 1/3 here, 1/3 here. So when you go up a third of your page, you're going to have your ocean, distant ocean horizon line across here. And that also gives you your bottom of your area where you have your palm trees starting over here with your hill. So you have a little bit of a distant hill over here with some palm trees over here on the left. So that's 1/3 and up is your palm trees. That's pretty simple, right? And then your boat is on the bottom third of your painting, which is below the horizon line here of the ocean. And you just draw in your boat, and your boat is about 2/3 across the painting this way. So your boat, the bow of your boat is about 2/3 over this way, and I made a hash mark here for a third and a third here. And then the stern of your boat is just a little bit in from the edge of your painting. So really, you can locate all of your key points of your painting on this composition pretty simply, right? We're just using your thirds. Your thirds here, here, and then a third and a third and a third here. So you have thirds, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then again, you just have your first third line here is your distant horizon line for your ocean. And then you keep your boat in the bottom third here. The bottom third of your painting, you keep it in this area. And you're about 2/3 over this way for the front of your boat there, and then the back of the boat is just a little bit in from the edge, and there you have it. And then of course your palm trees are over here on the left hand side, just kind of in about 1/3 of the way on the left side of your painting, coming in this way over here. And then the rest is pretty much simple sky wash. We're going to show you how to do that. So we're going to give you all the details here, the oodles of information of all the key ingredients you need to put this painting together. And again, you're going to be amazed at how good you're going to do with this. You're just going to have a wonderful time painting. You're going to have fun. And you're also going to realize, like at the end of this painting, you're going to say, oh my God, I did this beautiful painting and I can't believe I did it. It's not that difficult actually. And you're going to create it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll explain each of the real main ideas of the painting as we go. So you won't have to worry about how to paint a boat or how to paint palm trees and ocean. We're going to explain each of these steps as we go, and we'll put it all together, and you'll see that by the next hour you'll have this painting done, looking beautiful, and you'll be happy, and you'll say, wow, I'm excited. I'm ready to do my next watercolor painting. So, and if you're brand new here and this is the first time you're ever here on my channel, welcome. Thanks so much for coming by. I'm so glad you're here and sticking with us. Keep painting with us. Come back every week, week after week, and all you have to do is just hit the subscribe button on the right hand side down below. You hit subscribe, in this way YouTube will just let you know we made a new video, and then you'll jump along in with us and have a fun time and create another painting each week as we go. And sure enough, after 6 months to a year, you're going to be creating beautiful watercolor paintings consistently all the time, and we'll have a lot of fun together. And okay, we're just going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back, okay? All right, we are getting back into it here. Let's start out by always remembering we're going to start out with fresh, clean water. Change your water frequently when you're painting in watercolor. Don't let your water get all muddy and murky looking all the time. Always change your water. Maybe a couple times, 2-3 times during a painting is probably pretty good. but especially when you're going to do really, really light washes. And I always try to tell everyone, like, I always try to make it a real important point to mention it to everybody, that if you're going to do a really light wash, like a light, super light wash with not much dark paint, then you're definitely going to want to have your fresh, clean water at that point. Because that murky water, if you have muddy looking water and you try doing a light wash, it'll ruin it, because it'll just make it look really dark and murky looking. So you don't want that. So if you always just keep your water pretty clean, you're always better off that way. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to paint this alla prima, which means all at one time. We're not going to do a glazing technique. A lot of times I do a glazing technique. You'll see me do that and you'll say, ooh, wow, Chris is doing the glazing technique. It looks pretty cool. It looks pretty interesting. That's fine. But for this painting, we're going to do the alla prima method, which is just as interesting and fantastic to use, because it really, you can just get right in and do the real main meat and potatoes of your painting, and then you worry about other lighter washes later on in the painting. So the alla prima method of painting is just as good, just as exciting, just as profitable for a watercolor artist to use, and we're going to use that right now. So I'm going to go right in, and we notice that our boat is a green color, so let's get our green, sap green. Let's get a sap green in here. Yeah, let's mix our colors up. Sap green. Let's mix some Viridian in with that sap green too. And we're going to mix some warm and cool. So warm colors, let's go with some burnt sienna, just so we have some warmer colors. And then let's start getting in there, and maybe some olive green, like that. And let's start doing our boat. And the key is here with our boat. Let's let's use lots of colors. Don't get fooled into thinking, oh, I'm just going to use like one color, one green color. Take lots of different mixtures. Take lots of different greens, and just start putting your greens in across your boat. And it's a little bit darker on top. And I'm seeing a lot of Viridian green here. So you can kind of see I'm just going right across. And then this, we're going to paint around this stabilizer over here. So I'm going to paint around that. I'm not going to paint over it. I'm going to paint around that stabilizer, like so. And you can kind of see I'm just mixing my greens, and it just so happens that I do have some warm and cool. And I paint around this stabilizer too. That crosses over on this side. And I'm going to paint the stern of the boat over here, like that. And then there's some darker colors here that make up the bottom of the boat. Let's do some burnt sienna. Here you can see burnt sienna. Maybe a little bit of, let's use some red. Let's cadmium red. Maybe some burnt umber too, some brown. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to start adding that. Okay, there we go. So you can see I'm doing the darker reddish brown. Maybe a little bit of blue, some cerulean blue. I'll mix into that mixture. And I'll even put some of that cerulean blue there too. And I go around that stabilizer again. A little bit of the darker mix there. See, I'm going to do that darker brown and reddish mix for the bottom of the boat. Like that. Then I simply rinse off my brush, dry off a little bit of the water on a paper towel or a tissue like we're using here. And let's get in some of that French ultramarine blue. Let's do some shadow colors now. and purple. French ultramarine violet, French ultramarine blue, and let's get in some of that shadow color under there, underneath the boat. It's super dark under there. So let's get that dark shadow color there. Just so we have a little bit of shadow under there. Cast shadow of the boat, like that. And then we'll take a damp brush. I rinse off my brush, dry off a little bit of the water, and then I just go over that little bit of that white line, like that. And there we have it. And there's also a darker wash, green, sap green here, and a little bit of the blue, sap green and that blue, and French ultramarine blue. And that is darker on the top of the boat. So let's get that in there too. Can you see how that's dark on the top of the boat up here? So let's get some of that darker wash there and leave that little bit of light, along the top edge of the boat. And that looks really good. We leave that white paper right there. Can you see how I'm leaving that white paper? Like that. And I just scratch out a couple spots, like so. And maybe a little bit of the brown color, so we don't want to. Let's keep some warm and cool going. Warm and cool, a little bit of warm in there, a little bit of cool. Much better. And we're doing a little more. Like that. A little bit of that darker blue, French ultramarine blue. Like that. There we go. So you can see right now we have our boat pretty much completed. And then we can use some warm and cool. There's a little bit of that shadow there along the front of that pontoon. And then there's a little bit of shadow on the bottom of that pontoon, like so. Like that. And then there's even a darker shadow underneath that, over here. Then I take my brush, rinse it off, tap off some of that water, keep that brush a little bit damp, not too wet, and then just put a little bit of some dampness on that wash along this pontoon over here, like so. Good. All right, I think we are working this part of the painting really well. We're getting some interesting colors here. Let's do the pontoon stabilizers over here. So I'm putting a little bit of that brownish color. There we go. And then I think there's a little bit of some shadow like that. Good. So now you see we have the boat completed. Let's take a break. I always mention, if you can, please take some breaks, because we did a lot of work here, a lot of effort into this boat, this rowboat here. And when you work on something for like 10, 15 minutes and you put a lot of effort into it, you're going to notice that your concentration gets a little bit shaky if you go on to the next part of your painting and you're sort of trying to do too much at one time. So that's why I take a break right now. I'm going to take a break for 15 minutes, and then I'll come back and I'll start working on the palm trees. Let's do that. Let's work on the palm trees next. Is that okay? We'll work on our palm trees next, but we'll take a break though, because we just did the rowboat here, and didn't we do a great job of this? we got a really beautiful rendering of a dark. You can see how dark that is, right, compared to the rest of this painting. You can see how dark in tonal value that rowboat is. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure we have plenty of darks as we painted this rowboat. And we did that. We went straight in and got pretty much straight paint. We didn't use much water at all, as you noticed, as we mixed these colors and we started painting in this rowboat. So I'm glad you successfully did that. You really noticed how we used lots of straight paint and not much water at all to get this rowboat completed. And you can see how dark that is, right, compared to the white sand or the lighter sky colors. You see how dark that is? Even when we put in this light water here for the ocean, it's going to be a lot lighter than this boat. So this boat has to look this dark, and you can see that's how we got it to be this dark. We used lots of rich color. We used lots of rich color like this, straight paint. Can you see that? Does that make sense? We had to use straight paint like this. We didn't mix up tons of water like this and get all these puddles of water. You'd never get this kind of a look using puddles of water and too much water. We have to use pretty much straight paint out of the tubes. So these tube colors we have squeezed in our palette here, that's actually what we used. We used pretty much that. We rinsed off our brush. We dry off a little bit of the water on a tissue or a paper towel or a sponge. If you have a sponge, you want to use a sponge. You dry off your water and then you go in and get your colors and you get your rich colors like this. Just like that. Those rich dark colors, and then you just work into your painting like that versus using this kind of a thing. If you use this kind of much water, you'll never get this because it'll be way too watered down. Does that make sense? So those of you that have been painting with me for a long time, you kind of know this method and technique and how I mix my colors and how much water to use and how much water not to use. You know this, but some of you, you're just starting out with me and you haven't followed me too long. That's one thing I really share a lot of times, is that's one of the keys to having great looking watercolors is you have to know where to use a lot of water and where not to use a lot of water. And this is, you can see how dark that boat is. You won't be able to use you shouldn't use a lot of water when you're doing a wash like this for this boat. You have to use basically straight paint, straight tube paint. You pull it out of your palette like this and you put it into the section of your palette and you see how dark and rich that is. And over here in the reds and the browns and the greens and the blues like that. That's what you need to get this looking like this. Otherwise, you'll have a hard time getting that really beautiful darks of your paintings that you need to have. All right, enough said. I know you got it. You've got this, no problem. Now we're on to the next. We're going to do our palm trees next, but we must take a break once in a while. Take breaks. Maybe you don't need a break. Some people, I realize you don't need a break. That's fine. I need a break. Some of you need a break. Take a break. If you don't need a break, fine. Go right over here and start working on the palm trees. We'll be right back. All right, we're back and we are in business. We're going to get started over here on these palm trees on the left-hand side. I'm going to kind of get some of this extra puddly water we have over here. And I like to mention, if you're going to get those rich, dark colors in your paintings, you have to really hold back on too much water. So you don't want to add too much water, again, just to kind of pick up where we left off. So now we're going to start working on our palm trees. We're going to use more of the same, sap green we're going to use. And then we're going to start working into some raw umber. Raw umber here, we're going to use some maybe yellow ochre, maybe some, let's use some cadmium lemon yellow too. Some also viridian green, and then we'll use some of the blue over here and some of the burnt sienna. So our palm trees, we're going to mix a lot of different colors. We're going to use cerulean blue over here, sap green over here and over here, some olive green too, some burnt sienna for our warmer colors. Within those palm trees, we're going to have a little bit of those warmer colors. And then some cadmium lemon yellow and some raw umber over here. And a little bit of yellow ochre too, maybe. You can mix those up in there. And then we're going to maybe even add some French ultramarine blue to get a darker blue in here. So the darker blue is over here, so I added some of that French ultramarine blue. And what I'm doing is just adding some darks, those French ultramarine blue mixed with green. And it can just be a little bit of some blobs of color because the center of these palm trees are dark, and you don't have to really worry too much. Then next we pick up some of the lighter greens. I'm going to splash on some color. If you don't feel comfortable splashing and you haven't done it a lot, don't do it. I've done it a lot for a long time, for many, many years. I do lots of splashing, so I feel comfortable with it. But if you don't feel comfortable with splashing, don't do it. Practice it first. I have splashing videos. Just type in Chris Petri splashing technique. There's probably 4 or 5 videos I have over the last number of years. Now I'm going to go with a smaller brush. I'm going to change brushes and go to a number 5 Da Vinci travel brush. And we're going to go with some greens. And I'm going to start get these palm tree looking shapes going. And again, don't work too much. Like, don't try to get too fancy with your palm trees. Maybe try to get a couple of the basic shapes of the palm trees like this, the branches, like they kind of flow nice, like so. And you work on that like so. And then once you have that, we're going to even use another brush in just a second. We're going to use our needlepoint brush to get more finer lines. But for here, we're going to stick with some like that. And then we have some reddish browns in the center here, maybe even some red. Let's add a little color, a couple of spots of red like so, maybe a little bit of a couple spots of orange to make these look a little more interesting. And then we use some of the brown and yellow and gold. So I'm just going to do a little bit of the gold. Then a little bit of the green over here, so we want to kind of mix it up. Mix up some of the colors, browns and golds and greens, like so. Like that. And I think that looks pretty good. Here, this one like so. That. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to do some splashing. I hope you'll hold off on splashing if you haven't done it a lot. That's something you want to practice first, some splashing technique before you do it. And okay, a little more green, sap green. Let's mix some sap green here. Some cerulean blue. Again, you can see I'm going with straight paint, not too much water. Sap green, French ultramarine blue even. Let's do some darker darks in there. All right, so we have our palm trees over here on the left-hand side. We worked them in just like we see them there. Again, I mentioned we're going to use a needlepoint brush to get a little more detail on them, on the palm trees. So we're going to use the green, sap green, some cerulean blue, and then maybe just we can add a couple little here and there. Not everywhere, just a few spots here and there. Don't go overboard, but if you can add some of these really fine lines like that, you add a few little spots like that of these fine, like this, and it's going to look much better like this. There we go. A couple of those, we're good. All right, now there is a few more. There we go. All right, perfect. And you can see I did plenty of darks in here in the center of the trees, the palm trees. And then we have plenty of fine lines with the needlepoint brush so that we can have those really beautiful looking needles of the palm trees, the palms themselves. Indications of those palms looks perfect. We could add a little darker darks here and there, like that. Fine. So now, again, I'm going to take another break. I always mention again, I like to take breaks when I'm doing major portions of the painting. I like to do one section, take a break, do another section, take another break, and then I work my painting that way. So this way I can get a rest, come back in 10 minutes, look at it, say, looks good. I don't think I need to do much more there or here. Or I might say, interesting, I think I need to add this or that to a certain section as I'm working. So please do as you think you need to do as an artist. Take your breaks. If you don't need breaks, that's fine. We're going to come back and we'll start working on the ocean and sand. And then once we're done with the ocean and sand, the last thing we'll do is the sky wash. And you'll see how the sky wash is the last thing we're going to do, and it's going to be very quick and fast. And we're not going to put a lot of work into it because we've already done so much detailed work already in the painting. To add too much detail to the sky wash won't really be a good thing. So you'll kind of see, we'll explain that as we go. And I'm glad you're here and you're painting along with us, and we're going to do even more interesting painting as we go. We have another maybe 20 minutes to go, and then we'll be finished, okay? So be right back. We'll start up and get our ocean in and sand, and we'll see how that goes. All right, we are getting back into the painting, and let's see now. Can you see how murky that water is? That's kind of like a greenish, muddy looking, murky green color. Let's empty the water. Fresh, clean water. Okay, so now we have crystal clear water. I'm going to go back to my larger brush, and this was a Da Vinci Maestro number 12. Kolinsky Sable hairs. Actually, I don't think I used this before. Maybe I'll go back to the number 6 Da Vinci, or this is a Raphael Kolinsky Sable brush. Let's use that to get our water in, because we don't have a super large area here, but we do have a decent amount of water area here to cover. Let's take a look at this and say, you know what? Good time to clean up the palette a little bit. We must not give in to letting our palette get too much paint in it, where it gets all muddy and murky looking. Let's do this. Let's clean up the palette just a little bit. There we go. Now we can get some really good, beautiful, fresh, clean color in our ocean. What are we going to use? Well, we know we're going to use definitely some of that beautiful Viridian green. That's that tropical Viridian green color. Look at that. That's exciting. Some cobalt blue and cerulean blue over here. Cerulean blue, cobalt blue. Maybe a little bit of French ultramarine blue too. There we go. So we're mixing all of our 3 blues here. Cobalt blue, cerulean blue, French ultramarine blue, and then lots of Viridian green over here. And let's see how that works out. Let's start we're just going to start over here with our Viridian green. And just take your brush and load it up with water like that. And go right across until the paint runs out, like that. Good. Let's do another bit here. We'll leave a little bit of white on top of the boat, like so. There we go. And I think we really have that. Looks great. All right, now we do see a darker horizon line. So let's get some of our darker darks, and we'll go across this way. Okay, then we rinse off the brush, damp brush, and then smooth that out like that. There we go. Then we notice there's a distant shoreline over here. French ultramarine blue, maybe a little bit of French ultramarine violet. And we'll do that. Now if you notice it gets too out of control, that wash, no big deal. You take a paper towel. And you fold it up like this really quick. And you just set it across the bottom of that area, and you just press on it like so. And then you fix it like that, and that's it. Okay, so that's all you have to do there. Okay, now let's do a touch of orange right over there on the left hand side. Just a little bit of orange. and we just blot a little bit of orange, super tiny bit, like that. And then a little bit of brown with that blue and purple, and just a couple of speckles of sand like that. That's all you have to do, is add that little bit of orange to the white paper, and right away it gives you that warm sand feel, but you don't want to add too much. Maybe a little bit of alizarin crimson. That also sometimes really looks good. A little bit, a tiny bit of alizarin crimson gives you that warm sand feel. And a little bit of the orange over here. And a little bit of more, tiny bit of orange over here too. And that should be good. So already we're almost completed now. We just have to do our sky wash. So we'll see how quick the sky wash goes. We're going to actually use our larger number 12 Da Vinci Maestro. I'm going to kind of show you how this water still is a little bit murky looking now. We just changed it, but it still is. Let's change out the water one more time with fresh, clean, crystal clear, clean water. And we're going to just take a break, and then we will finish up with our sky wash. And we will be completed. So we'll come right back. We'll finish up our sky wash, and that'll be it. We'll be all set, and you're just going to be like an amazement how well you did on this painting. Hey everybody, just a quick informational. I'm really excited. I've been invited to the Thousand Island Arts Center to teach a workshop this summer. It's August 9th, 10th, and 11th, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And it's a daytime workshop, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to have an absolutely fantastic time. I'm going to put up the itinerary in just a second too as well, but I wanted you to have the Thousand Island Arts Center phone number so you can call to register, or you can also register online. That's up to you. Their phone number is 315-686-4123. Again, their phone number is 315-686-4123. Or you can also register and look up all the information online at TIARTSCENTER.org. Again, their website is TIARTSCENTER.org. I'll put the itinerary up here so you can I'll scroll it. I'm not going to read it. I'll just kind of scroll it up so you can kind of see the class description. And you can look this up online too. I encourage everybody to look for the brochure. If you go to the website, you'll see a brochure button. You click on that brochure button, you'll see my course, as well as other courses if you can't happen to make these dates, but you still want to take a watercolor class or watercolor course and workshop. And there's also an online course for watercolor artists. So if you're interested in doing online watercolor courses, they have those as well. That's something this is a great resource, everyone, for your watercolor art. I know some of you mentioned that you wanted to inquire about online art and watercolor painting classes. I'm not doing them right now. I'm really looking forward to maybe in the future doing some online courses, but right now I'm just not geared up for that right now. So they have them though for those that want to do online courses. But just a great resource, and beautiful historic area, beautiful scenery, water and boats everywhere, beautiful architecture, shopping. There's museums. So that's the itinerary. And I hope you'll all make it out to the workshop. And again, we're going to have a great time, tons of fun drawing and painting in watercolor. So I hope to see you there. And let's get back to our watercolor painting. All right, we're getting started again. We're going to do our sky wash. You can kind of see how large this section is up here that we're going to be painting our sky within. So that's why I'm going to use the number 12 Da Vinci Maestro natural hair brush. And we're just going to take fresh crystal clear water that I just changed. And what I'll do is I'll just put a little bit of water on the paper. Not a lot, here and there, not everywhere. Just get a little bit of water onto the paper. Again, splash on some crystal clear water onto the paper in the sky area, but not everywhere, just a few spots here and there. And I think that'll be good. So we just added some water, a little more. Okay, now what we're going to do is go in cerulean blue, French ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, cobalt blue, and then we're just going to go up and put it at the top of the painting and just dab it on there. And then once you get the darker, a little more darker brown, a little bit of brown mixed in with the blue. Once you get the darker colors up top, keep the darkest darks up top, like that, up here. And then the rest, and then you keep a tissue in hand to blot up here and there. And then the rest is lighter. So the darkest darks are up top along the top of the picture painting, like that. Like that. And that's all you have to do is just work around the paint a little bit, very, very subtly, like so. But let the paint and the water do all the work. Can you kind of see how I really didn't do much at all? I did hardly anything at all to this. I just added the water onto the paper first, fresh, clean, crystal clear water. Then I added some dark darks to the top mostly. And then again, the more free and carefree you do your skies, the better they're going to look. And then the bottom of the sky, we add some orange. Like this, right across. little bit of the orange up there. So you keep the very, very tiny bit of orange just at the bottom of the painting, at the bottom of the sky wash, like that. And the rest just kind of free flows down across the painting. Careful around the trees, the palm trees. Don't let too much water puddle up along there. And there you have a beautiful tropical boat scene. The only thing I could imagine is if you wanted to, in the, maybe you can do a figure in here somewhere. You could kind of work a figure into this painting if you wanted to try it a second or third time. But if you do it the first time just like this, keep it simple, just the boat, the palm trees, and then the beautiful sand and ocean and sky wash, you're going to have no problem. You're going to be able to do this. You can do this, have fun with it. I covered everything here step by step, so you just, if you want to, you can watch the video one time full, all the way through first and kind of get the feel for what I'm doing. Just watch what I'm doing. Then you go back a second time and then you paint along with it, with me, the video, the second time. And then you can kind of follow along and you'll have seen it one time full through, kind of have the feel for it of what I'm doing and the kind of the steps that I'm going through and some of the little minor details that I cover here and there. And then after that, you're all set. Then you do it the second time. You paint along with me. You hit pause if you have to on your video. Take your breaks if you need to catch up and kind of prep for the next part. You can always, when I take breaks, you can always stop and then watch the next scene or the next portion of the video and then rewind it and then start again. You know what I mean? So you can do this any way you want. I'm not going to tell everybody how to do it, but the thing is, if you can kind of do it in sections. So the first time you watch the full video all the way through, you kind of get the whole flow of how I did the painting. Then the second time you watch it, you might paint along with the video as I go. And then when I take breaks and I stop, that's when you can maybe skip ahead, watch what I do, then rewind again, and then you know what I mean? It's repetition is all it is. If you can just keep the idea of repetition is the mother of skill, you'll be able to get much more success if you're repeating things over and over again and kind of watching over and over and hearing the same things over and over and over again. You'll be able to do the painting a lot more successfully, or versus if you just say, I'm just going to paint along with the video, and you put it on go and you start painting along with the video. You might get some good success that way, but you might get better success if you watch it one time full through, then come through a second time and kind of take your time as you go through the second time watching things. So just mentioning it, I hope you're the artist, you'll make the decisions on how you want to watch the video, what you want to do, if you want to take notes or not, all that good stuff. But I just want to thank you for watching. Appreciate everyone, all your beautiful comments. Thanks for all the encouragement. Keeps me excited to keep painting here on YouTube, and that's my main focus, is making sure that you're getting all the great information you need to succeed at your watercolor paintings, because I know if you're doing great paintings, you're going to be happy, and you're going to keep working at watercolor and getting better and better and better, and that will just take you to new levels. You'll be much happier as an artist. So let's meet up again very, very soon. And again, thanks so much for watching. And again, if you like my videos, you can always hit the thumbs up. So this way people know it's an exciting YouTube channel that I have here. And also, too, if you subscribe on the right-hand side down below, if you subscribe, that's also fantastic, too. It helps me as an artist on YouTube. And as well, you'll get all my videos every week, and you won't miss anything. And you'll be able to, work along with us each week as we go. Okay? All right, so we'll see you soon. And happy painting, everybody, okay? Bye-bye.